This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. FTX owes its top 50 creditors $3 billion. And countries finally agree to establish a climate finance fund. We're talking about the headlines today, and we're talking to you about it. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robard, still filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, November 21st, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Chester Robards. Pamela Musgrove will not be joining me today. She is out of town and enjoying herself, I hope. So you will be my co-hosts today. So let's start with the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping in the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, FTX owes its top 50 creditors over $3 billion, according to recent court filings in Delaware. The names of the creditors are not listed, but the two largest are each owed over $200 million. The top 10 creditors are owed $1.4 billion. FTX Trading, the U.S.-based company that filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on November 11th, said the list is based on the debtors currently available. Creditor information. FTX was the third largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world before its recent collapse. Former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried moved to the Bahamas last year and set up FTX Digital Markets. While government officials touted the company's arrival as a major win for the country, it has since spiraled into ruin. Earlier this month, a report leaked to a media outlet showed that Alameda Research, a hedge fund ran by Bankman-Fried and FTX, had close financial ties, even though they were supposed to be separate businesses. And opposition leader Michael Pintard is calling on members of parliament to declare whether they received campaign financing, loans, or gifts from the now collapsed Bahamas headquartered cryptocurrency giant FTX. He says, quote, all politicians before the election, after the election, should declare, said Pintard outside the office of the Prime Minister on Friday. He said, quote, did they receive any loans from FTX, campaign contributions, or gifts? All members of parliament ought to declare if they have a digital wallet with cryptocurrency. Did they purchase it from FTX or was it gifted? There are many questions that we wish to ask. Out of the abundance of caution at every level of the investigation, we should ensure that there isn't the appearance of conflict at any level, government level, regulatory level, all of it. And a hearing for FTX's Chapter 15 transfer is set for tomorrow. Delaware judge who is overseeing the Chapter 11 bankruptcy case of FTX US will hear arguments tomorrow over whether the Chapter 15 bankruptcy proceeding in New York, which was initiated by FTX Bahamas' liquidators, should be transferred to his court. Brian Sims Casey, one of the joint provisional liquidators appointed to oversee the winding up of FTX Digital Markets, the Bahamas-based branch of the company, filed the Chapter 15 petition last week. The joint provisional liquidators are seeking recognition of the Bahamas liquidation as a foreign proceeding under the U.S. Bankruptcy Code because FTX Digital maintains its center of main interests in the Bahamas. Quote, despite the seemingly complex structure of the FTX brand companies, the entire FTX brand was ultimately operated from a single location, the Bahamas. All core management personnel likewise were located in the Bahamas, Sims said. Chapter 15 bankruptcy allows U.S. and foreign bankruptcy courts to collaborate when assets are spread over multiple countries. And in what is widely being described as a landmark deal, countries participating in the United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP27, in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, concluded on Sunday with an agreement to establish a fund to pay for loss and damage suffered by developing countries most impacted by climate change. Simon Steele, UN Climate Change Executive Secretary, said, quote, this outcome moves us forward. We have determined a way forward on a decades-long conversation on funding for loss and damage, deliberating over how we address the impacts on communities whose lives and livelihoods have been ruined by the very worst impacts of climate change. The agreement to provide funding came as COP27 participants acknowledged the increasing urgency of enhancing efforts to avert, minimize, and address loss and damage associated with the adverse effects of climate change. And Pintard calling on Sears to resign. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard has called on the Minister of Works and Utilities, Alfred Sears, to resign after he recently conceded the Ministry of Finance rejected requests for hedge trades to be executed last fall to enable Bahamas Power and Light to lock in oil prices. Sears' concession came after he and the Prime Minister both repeatedly insisted in the House of Assembly that they had not had any briefings on the need to carry out the hedge transactions and had seen no documents on it. He said, quote, we believe the statements made by Alfred Sears during the last sitting of the House were absolutely crystal clear, Pintard said. He accused Sears of throwing the Prime Minister under the bus, as Prime Minister Philip Davis is the Minister of Finance. He said, quote, so we threw the Prime Minister under the bus, or he might be a whistleblower. In international headlines, cold and dark, Kyiv readies for the worst winter of their life when the power is out. As it so often is, the high-rise apartment overlooking Ukraine's war-torn capital feels like a death trap. No lights, no water, no way to cook food, and the risk of not being able to escape from the 21st floor in time should a Russian missile strike. Even when electricity comes back, it's never on for long. Anastasia Poroshenko says Russian strikes are plunging Ukraine into the Stone Age. In a recent 24-hour spell, her 26-story high-rise only had power for half an hour. She says the military living conditions have driven her and her husband from their apartment. She says our building is the highest in the area and is a great target for Russian missiles, so we left our apartment for our parents' place and are preparing for the worst winter of our lives, said the 25-year-old. The situation in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, and other major cities has deteriorated drastically following the largest missile attack on the country's power grid on Tuesday. Ukrainian state-owned grid operator Ukrenigro reported that 40% of Ukrainians were experiencing difficulties due to the damage to at least 15 major energy hubs across the country. Let's turn to sports. It was a historic week for the Bahamas in junior sailing as Zane Munro and national champion Patrick Tomlinson became the first Bahamian sailors to make the Gold Fleet at the Optimist North American Championships. The 2022 version of the event wrapped up on Saturday at Montague Bay. Munro was the highest placed Bahamian, finishing 35th overall, while Tomlinson was 6 places behind him at 41st overall. The event had 155 sailors competing for the top spot. The closing ceremony was held on Saturday at the Nassau Yacht Club. The sailors took part in 10 races over the course of the 4 days of competition, including 5 qualifying races and 5 finals. Munro's best finish in the competition was a second-place finish in the second finals race, and he finished with 170 points. He also had a top 5 finish when he placed 4th in the qualifying race. And Jackson to go to the U. Blue Chip Athletics is continuing to produce top throwers in the country, and the athletes are reaping the rewards. Talia Jackson, a 17-year-old senior at Rabun Gap Nakuchi School in Rabun County, Georgia, USA, became the latest athlete from the locally based Blue Chip Athletics to sign a letter of intent with a major National Collegiate Athletic Association Division I school. Jackson has chosen the University of Miami in Coral Gables, Florida, starting her collegiate education just a short plane ride from her home here in the Bahamas. Jackson is one of the top young discus throwers in the country, and abroad she is a 2-time state champion in that event for the Rabun Gap Nakuchi Eagles. She was also 4th in the under-20 girls discus at Carifta Games in Kingston, Jamaica this year, turning in a personal best throw of 44.9 meters. She says, quote, "I'm just happy to know that I have so much love and support. It was overwhelming." And Bahamians set to see NCAA basketball action. It is early in the season tournament time in National Collegiate Athletic Association Division I basketball, and several Bahamians will be in action for their schools. When coach Yolette Mafi McCuen was last coaching at home, she made history when she was an assistant coach for the Bahamas senior men's national basketball team this past summer, becoming the first female to coach a senior men's national team. Today she will have a dream come true when she gets to coach the University of Mississippi Lady Rebels at home. They will take on Dayton University Flyers in the Bahamar Hoops Pink Flamingo Championship at Bahamar at 7 p.m. The Rebels sport a 4-0 win-loss record after dominating the Southern Miss Eagles 92-46 last Wednesday. In international sports, European teams have abandoned plans to wear armbands at World Cup. FIFA's threat of on-field punishment for players forced World Cup teams to back down Monday and abandon an anti-discrimination campaign aimed at host nation Qatar. The captains of 7 European nations won't wear armbands supporting the One Love campaign in games after FIFA said the players would be shown yellow cards. The decision came 3 days after beer sales at stadiums was suddenly banned under pressure from the Qatari government, and 2 days after FIFA President Gianni Infantino delivered an extraordinary tirade defending the host nation's human rights record. As national federations, we can't put our players in a position where they could face sporting sanctions, including bookings, the 7 soccer federations said in a joint statement. The climb down after threats from FIFA came hours before England's Harry Kane, the Netherlands' Virgil van Dijk, and Wales' Gareth Bale were due to wear the armbands in Monday's games. The captains of Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, and Denmark had also pledged to wear the armbands in the coming days. The Dutch Soccer Federation said in a statement, "Our number one priority at the World Cup is to win the games. Then you don't want the captain to start the match with a yellow card." That's sports. That's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by the Chick-Charney Challenge. The general situation, a quasi-stationary front nestled across the northern islands, will continue to generate cloudy conditions, as well as occasional bouts of unsettled weather as the boundary gradually lifts northward today. Elsewhere across the Bahamas, high pressure will create mostly quiet conditions while giving rise to a general warming trend through tonight. There remains a marginal threat of possible waterspot activity across the northwest Bahamas. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate to high risk of rip currents impacting north and eastern shorelines, especially across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Residents, particularly in the northernmost islands, living or traversing in low-lying and flood-prone areas should take special precautions during heavy and prolonged rainfall events. For the northwest Bahamas, weather mostly cloudy to occasionally overcast and a bit warm with isolated to widely scattered showers across all areas. Expect breezy to windy conditions as well as the potential for heavier downpours and thunderstorm activity across the extreme northwest Bahamas through to this afternoon. Winds and severe weather chances will gradually diminish as the front passes to the north of the area by late evening. A small craft advisory is in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 25 knots today, shifting easterly at 15 knots after the frontal passage across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Easterly at 10 to 15 knots at gusty at times across the remainder of the forecast area. Seas 5 to 8 feet over the open waters in the extreme northwest Bahamas, subsiding 2 to 4 feet elsewhere. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, hot and breezy, with quick passing showers today becoming mostly fair and warm, with a stray shower or two possible tonight. A small craft caution is in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Your daytime high temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. We'll have more weather for you in just a bit.
Morning Blend Weather Check brought to you by the Chick-Charney Challenge. The country's premier obstacle course run is back this December 3rd at Clifton Heritage Park. Run, jump, climb, and claw your way to the finish. The Chick-Charney Challenge, The Return. Sign up today at chickcharneychirin.com or call 421-8915 today. The Chick-Charney Challenge.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
The secret is out. Thursdays have gone TCL at Alive. Thursday, November 17th and November 24th, you can save big on select TCL devices. Shop early for the holidays and get the best deals on devices starting as low as $19. Alive has doorbuster specials, TCL savings, and more. So stop, drop, and run to your nearest Alive location closest to you. We are Alive. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on www.guardiantalkradio.com and the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices, and on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Guardian Radio is all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Chester Robards. You are my co-hosts today, so you can join our conversation. Tweet us at MorningBlend969 or follow the hashtag MorningBlend. Be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on the show. You can email us at morningblend@nascar.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. Text us at 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply. The Guardian Radio phone lines, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. We always like to hear your voice. Also coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. We'll have business news coming up in Morning Blend Business in the 9 o'clock hour. But first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. A lot to unpack from the weekend. Of course, the top stories are mostly about FTX. Many of you might be tired of FTX by now. Maybe not. Maybe this is just working up your sleuth hat and you're doing your own investigations. Who knows? We got a caller already. We haven't even talked about what we're going to talk about. Oh, we have a caller already. Anyway, let's see what the caller's saying. My first co-host for the day. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Golly days is this dark universe. Raymond Darling Ferguson here, Chester.
Yes, good morning. Your phone's working today.
Say it again?
Your phone is working today.
Oh yes, thank God.
Yes.
What I wanna say, a couple of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is, I pray that we got to pray that countries and businesses get together and help the Ukrainians to be warm during this winter and have good food to eat. Somebody to donate some some blankets, some quilts and stuff like that. Chester, when you think you have it bad, when you listen, other people have it worse. You wouldn't want to feel something as what you read in earlier pertaining to the news with the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Also, with this FTX, right?
Right.
What good was that to the Bahamas? What benefit was that to the Bahamas? Would you explain that to me? Because I don't see where it had benefit the Bahamian public.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Yeah, I could do that. Well, so there were promises made, right, when FTX came here. So a couple of things that I guess the country would have been looking forward to because of FTX is, I think your phone's getting a bit worse, but maybe you can call back if you want. I'll just answer your question without the crackling. So there were a bunch of promises made by FTX. First, there was a lot of donations made. I mean, in a couple $1 million worth of donations made to various charities and nonprofit organizations around the country. That's one thing. One organization alone pretty much got started on an FTX donation. I think the donation was around $1 million or so. Then there were promises of helping Bahamians to understand the digital asset sector and cryptocurrency, and there was this promise to hire a lot of Bahamians and also train them in the area, right? Which is probably still important. Now we don't know how deep this crypto winter is going to be. But again, the sector, there are important things to learn about the sector, about blockchain, about DeFi and those things that are still relevant despite the fact that FTX is gone, right? And there were Bahamians working for the company who started to learn those things, those important things, right? And they can probably do things with that. They also, I mean, whether or not the money was as legit as we hope it was, a lot of companies here were benefiting, providing services and goods to FTX, right? I mean, they were shelling out thousands of dollars a week on food with certain vendors and that kind of thing, right? Was it a red flag? Maybe, but people just thought, hey, this is the way things are going with tokens and Bitcoin, and a lot of people making a lot of money off of it. So this must be legit, and will last forever, right? No. So then there was the headquarters they wanted to build. In a perfect world, that would have been a great look for the Bahamas. There was going to be construction jobs. There were, the usual things that we get from foreign direct investment. Construction jobs that last for a time. Then they were building a hotel, so we're going to create more hotel workers. However you feel about that, right? There might have been a lot more tourism based on that, right? So there were some things that FTX was going to bring to the Bahamas. And now that's all washed away. Who knows? I don't think we're going to, partly because of this, I don't think we're going to see another cryptocurrency exchange. And we have another big one here, OKX, who recently got their license from the Securities Commission. But we're not going to see moves the size that FTX was making, because they kind of were the only exchange, when I say in town, I mean the world, that was ultra flashy about its money and marketing, right? So, they use big name celebrities to market FTX. They had Super Bowl commercials. I don't think you're going to see that kind of thing from other exchanges. Not just because of the FTX debacle, but because of what the cryptocurrency market is, right? They when they first kind of came out, they were like in secret. It was a dark kind of thing, and then as it became mainstream, these exchanges got bigger and obviously had to do things to make themselves very credible. But FTX took it to a whole new level. But as we're finding out, one of the co-founders of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, the man whose name and face you're always hearing about, he wanted to do something called effective altruism, which is basically make the most money you could make and give most of it away, right? Now, where that money comes from, I don't know if that made a difference in effective altruism, but alas, here we are. So yes, some good was to come out of FTX being here. Let me tell you, a lot of people was selling some real estate, and I'm sure making some decent commissions off of FTX. There was this hope that FTX would bring even more people who were buying high-end luxury real estate, and I think someone said to me, plenty of people was joining the world of real estate to get a little piece of what they hoped FTX would bring to New Providence. I hope that they could still get that real estate deals, those real estate deals done, and that some of the things that were in the works can still get done. All right, let's take some of these calls. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Hey, good morning, Chester.
Hey, morning.
Yeah, you ain't got no co-host this morning, and good morning to those who wake up in the land of the living. I hope
you're my co-host.
Oh no, I did it before with Dwight, but no, never again. I don't want to. I prefer to be a caller, or they like to call us, some of us, corner callers or whatever. Yeah. But needless to say, you had a chance to look at the documentary Cold Fusion with the FTX and the reporters talking about this gentleman, Freeman.
No, I haven't seen it.
I suggest that every Bahamian in this country, what I'm about to say, don't take my word, but I would suggest that you go and download this thing called Cold Fusion. They're talking about the documentary about with Sam, but with Freeman, Bank Freeman or whatever his name is. Mm-hmm, but what really is so funny about this is that this gentleman, young gentleman, came to this country and swing. I use the word swing with no apology. A lot of Bahamian people, they swing the lawyers who represented him, because Chester, when you look at this documentary, right, this gentleman took over hundreds of millions of dollars from teachers' pension fund in Canada to go through his FTX, which now the people in Canada, Chester, don't know how, where, and how would they retrieve their money back, which they can get it back. Then you had the famous Tom Brady, which I know a lot of y'all are his fans. He did a savings fund, couple $100 million, which is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what Sam Bankman or Freeman, what he reminds me of? A Robin Hood. Because Sam Freeman, I don't care who he give monies to in this country, whether it's a civic organization, charitable fund, non-profitable fund, churches, whatever, it's good. But that money he gives is not his money. All right?
Right.
Look, take Chester, please, this morning. I'm asking you, and I'm asking every Bahamian person in this country. This ain't no politics. Go and download Cold Fusion. The CEO of that company, it's a young lady, 27 or 28 years old, who don't really know A from B. I mean, A from Z. All right? Listen to the documentary. They talk about how they came to the Bahamas, right, and form a company in the Bahamas, right, under these people knows who's supposed to be representing this man. You see, because just at the end of the day, let me tell you something. There is no way in history if a multi-billionaire comes to this country and Chester Robas is the lawyer to represent him, right? Just you have to do your due diligence. Just because you see the B in the front, you ain't going to run to represent him? Okay. But I can say this to you, Chester, I can leave this. Somebody going to be hauled before a court, and it ain't going to be a court in the country of the Bahamas. I'm telling you, Chester, this deep. This goes so deep, they talking about even funding to this company, the Ukraine war.
Mm-hmm.
This deep. I am telling you, and it's so deep that Bahamians, they know who they is. If they listening this morning, they're in the center of this. They know who they is. All right? You know that's what they call all for me, baby? They know who they is. Have a good day, my brother.
All right, you too. Yeah, no, one thing is for sure. This FTX matter runs deep. Well, you can see from our lead story that the two largest is written by our Travis Cartwright Carroll. The two largest creditors listed for FTX are each owed more than $200 million. And the top 10 creditors are owed $1.4 billion. And the top 50 creditors are owed $3 billion. So, not million, billion with a B. I don't know where Sam Bankman-Fried was getting his money from. I don't listen to. I can be honest. There's been a lot of bad information coming out in the international press. I mean, people are wanting to be the first to crack any kind of story on this matter, and they have been putting out some horrible information based on absolutely nothing but speculation and calling it the truth. And in many cases already, we found out that it's not been the truth. So I'll take everything I see, including documentaries that come out a week after something happens. I'll take them with a grain of salt. Let's take this call. Yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yes, good morning to you, Alan Johnson.
Hey, good morning.
Yes, I agree with you in regards to the being able to sort through the manure that comes to a concerning FTX. First, just let me say what Dwight, speaker of Cold Fusion, is a YouTube channel, not an app that has to be downloaded. But we have to begin to look at the impact that FTX will hold on our image in the financial service industry. I think, just let me say that the demand by Mr. Michael Pintard and in regard to the declaration should be made in regard to our impact from our political leaders with FTX. If you understand the blockchain and the forensic type environment that will happen on this, it will literally come to have a black eye upon this country. And it's best that we know now in anticipation of the exposure that we will have. But this also shows to us that we lack the infrastructure necessary to monitor and control a technology that is nowhere yet everywhere.
Right.
Because you will have, and this is something like myself and others who've been in the technology business for 45 years plus have said from day one of the creation of this DARE bill. And even when FTX came here, right on your show, I said, I want you to pay it. I said that we did the equivalent of taking down the fence and putting up a chain gate and screaming that we are much safer and much secured. Now, the crypto environment is not limited to simply cryptocurrencies. And in fact, there's only one cryptocurrency in existence, which is called Bitcoin. The rest of them, and I take anyone to challenge this, is that they're all scams.
Mm-hmm.
There's no decentralization in them, nothing else for those who understand what the intent of cryptocurrency was. And somehow I think our focus on FTX did a disservice to the potential of the digital assets bill, which covers more than just the crypto space. But I think we need to tread carefully in regards to how we proceed with this, and we need not to buy into the fantasies that we are equipped and prepared, because if you really want to consider this, there's at least a dozen laws that must be enacted to be able to govern this industry, and a huge team has to be assembled to be able to monitor this. And this is not on the surface. This is a digital team, et cetera, et cetera. But
you're saying a dozen laws outside of what's in the DARE bill.
Place right now.
Right.
See, first of all, right. Let me just quickly scream through them. We have to have an anti-corruption law. We have to have a real freedom of information law. We have to have an accountability law and integrity, transparency. Secondly, the most primarily, guess what? It goes right into the argument again that the Free National Movement is making with BTL.
Right.
You can't even move this industry here because to control data, it has to be within your jurisdiction. That means we need to have a real energy reform.
Right.
But primarily, though, the two major laws we have is we need a law for data. It's called a data law. But we also need a separate law for digitization, or we like to go digital. We like to talk about it, not digitalization that they're doing for government. That's like doing a company. An actual digitization law for the actual industry. And the reason for these dozen laws or so that we need is for the very fact that, in fact, any economy, even hospitality that we begin to look at, has moved to data. If you, being in the business environment for the reporting, look at the top 500 companies. 95% or more of them are data companies, no matter what name you call them. Amazon is a data company.
Right.
Facebook is a data company. You can go through the whole Fortune 500 companies. These are data companies. The world is going to data, and it's becoming extremely even overwhelming on how this is being managed by major corporations, billion-dollar and trillion-dollar corporations, trying to figure this new dimension shift that has occurred. And so here we are saying that our commission has the tools and resources that needs to manage these major companies and data that goes across every jurisdiction for where there's an internet. So how do you apply the rules to the Bahamas in UK or Australia or the United States, etc.? And so, but however, though, a careful look at data laws, which actually can be applied in other jurisdictions, and we have seen that applied by GDPR, and we have seen that applied by the California data laws and other data laws, Canadian data laws, that can be applied in other jurisdictions.
Yeah.
So that means that if we really, really want to get into this industry, we have to consider a strong data regime that allows us to basically control how data and information is controlled and managed.
Right.
And so the problem is that we are a data-averse society. We talk about a lot of digitization, but generally, it's like we go and talk about the plate on the table and have no idea what happens in the back room on how the chef put it together. And so just an ending and saying this, we are still the most digitally prepared country in the world for this new environment. arrogance of ignorance we express and try to seek to find out how the back office of technology works, how the back office of data works, and etc. And the mere fact that our electricity bill is almost 50 cents, and the competitors around the world where these companies are based is under 5 cents, tells us, but let me actually end this question. If you were in, say, Florida, and your light bill was $1 million a month, forget all the other expenses you would have. Would you move your company to the Bahamas so you could pay $10 million a month? Just for light? Just for light.
Good question.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So the fantasy we talk and the pomp and pageantry that our leadership do is not based in reality of exactly how technology works. The world is going to become digital, and we must prepare for the same, or we will do nothing but consume.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Always appreciate those outlooks. I'll read some of these text messages coming in. This person says, do you know which authority evaluated Bahamian carbon credits to be worth over $300 million? Do you know if these carbon credits were monetized on FTX? I don't think they did anything with FTX yet when it comes to our carbon credits, and I don't even think the process of getting all of that worked out is even finished yet. So this person says, the cold fusion, what he's talking about. Yes, it is on YouTube. This person says, this FTX fallout wasn't about technology, though. This was about the complete absence of corporate governance. That is, nobody was watching what was spent, who was doing what, and where and the money went, and regulatory oversight. That is, ensuring someone was watching. Right. That's it. I think the point about technology is just that we could do the thing. We could take care of the technology side. I think that's just the point he was making. But also, the type of technology that is being used needs more oversight and more understanding that we might have given to it. So I think that's also what he was saying. Let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Just a call back for the simple reason that all of those promises that were given, right?
Yeah.
They were not in black and white. Secondly, right, which is so wrong. Secondly, right, the government brought, or whosoever brought that company here, they had brought that here in a secret manner, and there were nothing tangible to the Bahamian or for the Bahamian people.
Why would you say it was secret?
Say it again?
Why would you say it was secret?
Because we have heard nothing about the company until the immaturity that were found within the company, were being established.
I don't think that's quite accurate.
Well, explain it to me.
Okay. You got it. Someone help our good friend Bremen with his phone. The phone is still pretty bad, Bremen. But thank you for the call. No, I mean, how many companies are established in a country like the Bahamas and you don't know about it? I mean, many companies. Sometimes they put out press releases to say, "Hey, we're in this jurisdiction now," but I wouldn't say it was established in secret. I mean, I did a whole interview with Sam Bankman-Fried. I think it was even in September after they were established in their offices. So it wasn't in secret. Let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yes, good morning, Glenn, and thank you for taking my call. You know what really concerns me most, though, about this Sam Bankman gentleman? Who was well-schooled, well-educated, got a background. I mean, he appears to be a thief. I would be afraid if I had allowed him to come next to my computer, say, to fix something or to repair something, because knowing how operating system works. Look, inside your computer, you have these dynamic link library files. They call them DLL files. They are files that actually get work done for you. Now, suppose you have someone sit at your computer, and I'm sure these leaders of the world, I'm sure he already planned something and know exactly why he's coming to the Bahamas. Suppose you have to sit there and he planned a DLL file that's simply going to monitor your banking transactions. Look, these guys know how to do that, and they see it as a game. So this whole thing of moving billions and thinking, and it's just a game to them, and that's the problem with this unregulated gaming, man.
Yeah.
And that is a concern to me. So I'm pretty sure anybody who has come in contact with him, particularly these local politicians who like to just sell us out, they should go and have their computers formatted, their hard drives formatted, or disconnected immediately from the internet. That's what I would do, eh?
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Cut off their hands, that's what you're saying. All right, let's read some more text messages. Morning, good show as usual. My question is, C. Allen Johnson was educating us for years. How come no government has hired him to run a cyber tech department? Yeah, let him do some ethical, ethical work on making sure that people's systems are firm and safe. All right, looks like this person says, looks like Sam Bankman-Fried finally stopped tweeting. Maybe. He definitely should stop tweeting about his former company. This person says, Chester, we are talking a lot about Sam Bankman-Fried, who misled investors, but why aren't we talking about the CEO, Caroline Ellison of Alameda, who can't be found and is wanted? Where is she? And why is the resignation? That's not. Maybe you could fix that question. This person says that caller late. The U.S. already got all the info they need off our computers. I will tell you. All right, let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was related to FTX. The last caller, he made me laugh. The government to set up shop to try get at your computer. You don't need to set up shop in the country to get at people's computer. That's the easiest thing in the world to do once you get the knowledge. You could be in your bathroom and you could be getting at people's information on the computer. I didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, it's unfortunate that throughout history, human history, we've always had shysters. We continue to have shysters. And the problem is that persons who like to run after every shiny object that comes on the scene, especially now with this internet age, even with these documentaries and things, you can't follow them or take them too serious because you could edit any piece of material from a person speaking, dancing, to make a documentary to suit the purpose that you wanted to suit. It's just like a newspaper reporter writing a report, writing a story. Sometimes they write the story to satisfy the story that they want to tell, even when they put headlines. Sometimes the headlines don't match up with the stories in, because all of that is a part of getting people's attention. So at the end of the day, like I said before, it's good that all this thing comes to light. It's before the courts, and whoever didn't do what they were supposed to do, hopefully all that information comes out. And I just would like to say something on the press conference with the opposition at the office of the Prime Minister. These political parties, when they're in opposition, they always just amuse me. Mr. Pintat asking about who got money from FTX. A lot of times when these money people come to the Bahamas, they just give money to both sides. And none of them will say who give them money. Because I remember when in Grand Bahama, the two persons who owned the Port Authority, they was having a ceremony after the 2012 election. And I can't remember which one it was, that he called the other one to find out how the election had gone, because he was in London. Mm-hmm. And the next one who was in the Bahamas at the ceremony, Mr. Engelman, Mr. Christie was at that particular ceremony. He said he told him not to worry because he get both sides covered. And that's the hardest work in the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. None of the political parties will ever say who they got monies from, especially foreign investors. Mm-hmm. They will never say it. They'll never go to the House of Assembly with overwhelming majorities and pass, both of them have overwhelming majorities, and pass campaign finance legislation so that the public can know who does finance their campaign. None of them have done it in over 50 years. Yeah. But they will get up and pontificate when they're in opposition. Both parties have done it about who get money from where. And until we as the general public see them do that, I don't take them serious.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody like to jump on the bandwagon. That's what the opposition is supposed to do. But if you ask for one thing, you should say, okay, these are the people who give to our party. Now, I challenge the other party to put a who give to their party. Then we'll know if you're serious.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's politics.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, FTX, the lady who just got sentenced to 11 years last week, with the medical thing was supposed to tell you what kind of disease you get. She got only 11 years for doing the same thing, frauding people.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same basic principle, frauding people. So hopefully this guy get charged with some criminal charges, him and whoever else responsible get charged with some criminal charges, and end up like Bernie Madoff and them doing some hard time in prison. But that ain't gonna stop people from frauding people. It's just up to individuals to do their own due diligence and stop just running after these shiny objects. A 2-year company, that's all that company is 2 years old, basically. But 2 years old. And people just was throwing money at it.
Yeah.
All over the world. Just throwing money at it.
Yeah.
Shiny objects.
Yep. Appreciate the call. We got to go to a break. And Morning Blend will continue after this.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. He is not cooperating. We're told the suspect in the weekend killings of 5 people at a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs, Colorado, is not cooperating with investigators and has not said why he allegedly did this. The AP's Jackie Quinn.
The mayor of Colorado Springs, John Suthers.
This is a horrible crime.
A 22-year-old gunman identified as Anderson Aldridge allegedly entered the Club Q, which caters to the LGBTQ community, opening fire with a long rifle late Saturday. Police Chief Adrian Vasquez on KRDO TV says,
at least 2 heroic people inside the club confronted and fought with the suspect, and were able to stop the suspect.
This is the country's 6th mass killing this month. Colorado's governor, who's openly gay, calls it sickening. I'm Jackie Quinn.
That snowstorm that battered western New York has left feet of snow on the ground in places, piles of snow taller than most people in some areas, like Orchard Park, a suburb of Buffalo. But Governor Kathy Hochul says overall,
given the scale of this storm, I'm really proud of how the utility crews have stepped up. They were pre-positioned. Again, this is all about how you manage something of this scale. It's about being ready in advance.
Many Americans will be traveling this week for the Thanksgiving holiday. The price of gas has fallen 11 cents in 1 week, but it's up 26 cents from this time last year. That's according to the AAA. The Walt Disney Company hasn't made as much money as it expected in the past few months, and now it's bringing back former CEO Bob Iger, firing his successor, Bob Chapek. There'd been grumbling about Chapek's cost-cutting measures. Hong Kong's leader John Lee has tested positive for COVID. He was just at a meeting with other regional leaders. This is AP News. Kyrie Irving's back.
Kyrie Irving returned to the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday and apologized to anyone who felt threatened or hurt when he posted a link to a documentary with anti-Semitic material. The team suspended Irving on November 3rd after refusing to say he had no anti-Semitic beliefs. He's now apologizing.
I just want to offer my deep apologies to all those who are impacted over these last few weeks, specifically my Jewish relatives, my black relatives.
And says he should have handled it differently.
I feel it was necessary for me to stand in this place and take accountability for my actions. because there was a way I should have handled all this.
The point guard missed 8 games during suspension, which the Nets said would be for a minimum 5 games without pay. Julie Walker, New York.
And I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
It's time for your Morning Blend traffic alert. This segment of Morning Blend is brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. And we're looking at Gladstone Road right now. Traffic looks pretty thick northbound. It's almost backed up all the way to Fire Trail Road. On Sir Milo Butler Highway, the traffic is already backed up past Fire Trail Road. And that is causing traffic to back up on Fire Trail Road eastbound. Traffic on Carmichael Road eastbound to Blue Hill Road. Wow, already backed up pretty far. And that's causing traffic to be backed up all the way down to St. Vincent Road on Blue Hill Road. There's a lot of traffic on that road right now. If you can find an alternative, I would do that. Traffic already on Eastern Road, backed up way past Fox Hill Road and past San Souci Road. It's a bit of a jam on that road today. Village Road, there's still construction going on. If you went to Jollification and you hadn't seen it before, you saw it then. I guess people's got to get to school, but there is traffic on Village Road. Again, if you can avoid that area, you want to avoid that area. Traffic building on Brennan Road now. A lot of traffic on Soldier Road between Wolf Road and Prince Charles. And Robinson Road. And traffic building up now almost to Go Slow Bend at the roundabout by Saunders Beach. We expect that might get worse as the 8 o'clock hour approaches. We'll have more traffic for you then. That's your Morning Blend traffic alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay until February 2023. It's time for your weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Your general situation, a quasi-stationary front nestled across the northern islands will continue to generate cloudy conditions as well as occasional bouts of unsettled weather as the boundary gradually lifts northward today. Elsewhere across the Bahamas, high pressure will create mostly quiet conditions while giving rise to a general warming trend through tonight. There remains a marginal threat of possible waterspout activity across the northwest Bahamas. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate to high risk of rip currents impacting north and eastern shorelines, especially across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Residents, particularly in the northernmost islands, Bimini, Grand Bahama, and Abaco, living or traversing in low-lying and flood-prone areas should take special precautions during heavy and prolonged rainfall events. For the northwest Bahamas, weather mostly cloudy to occasionally overcast and a bit warm with isolated to widely scattered showers across all areas. Expect breezy to windy conditions as well as the potential for heavier downpours and thunderstorm activity across the extreme northwest Bahamas through to this afternoon. Winds and severe weather chances will gradually diminish as the front passes to the north of the area by late evening. A small craft advisory is in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 25 knots today, shifting easterly at 15 knots after the frontal passage across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but gusty at times across the remainder of the forecast area. Seas 5 to 8 feet over open waters in the extreme northwest Bahamas, subsiding 2 to 4 feet elsewhere. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, hot and breezy, with quick passing showers today, becoming mostly fair and warm with a stray shower or two possible tonight. A small craft caution is in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over open waters. Your daytime high temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, the warm front is expected to merge with another weak frontal boundary to our north, allowing for high pressure to momentarily dominate weather conditions across the Bahamas for Tuesday. Meanwhile, a frontal trough will begin to develop across the northwest Bahamas by Tuesday night, allowing for shower chances to gradually increase across portions of the area through to midweek. And we'll have your outlook for Tuesday and Wednesday in the 8 o'clock hour. That's your weather check.
Sherwin-Williams Paints wants to make your holiday a splash jollier. November 21st through December 23rd, come deck your walls with color by stopping into either the Tawny Williams Darling Highway or Prince Charles Drive location and take advantage of their Christmas sale of up to 20% off. And when you spend $100 or more, you enter to win prizes like hotel stays, boat excursions, interior designer consultations, and more. So stop on in to win. Sherwin-Williams Bahamas, find color in every day.
And it feels good to do good. This Christmas, let's spread some good together. Share your story of an act of kindness on RBC's Facebook and Instagram pages, and a registered charity of your choice could be selected to receive a donation from RBC.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. Come down to RBC. Get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. Come down to RBC.
Link up with BTC. Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase. Totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring that we are delivering best value to our customers, keeping them on the leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
With all the fiber you need. Link up.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Okay, class, let's begin today's history lesson. Ancient civilization used to visit stadiums to watch musicians perform. It was called a live concert.
Teacher, what year was that?
Researchers believe it was around 2019. Normal life feels like a long time ago. As things return to normal, remember it is essential to be fully immunized against all vaccine-preventable diseases like COVID-19, rubella, polio, hepatitis, mumps, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And now at 8:24, it is time for your final look at weather. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Your general situation, a quasi-stationary front nestled across the northern islands, will continue to generate cloudy conditions, as well as occasional bouts of unsettled weather as the boundary gradually lifts northwards today. Elsewhere across the Bahamas, high pressure will create mostly quiet conditions while giving rise to a general warming trend through tonight. There remains a marginal threat of possible waterspout activity across the northwest Bahamas. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate to high risk of rip currents impacting north and eastern shorelines, especially across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Residents, particularly in the northernmost islands, Bimini, Grand Bahama, and Abaco, living or traversing in low-lying and flood-prone areas should take special precautions during heavy and prolonged rainfall events. For the northwest Bahamas, weather mostly cloudy to occasionally overcast and a bit warm with isolated to widely scattered showers across all areas. Expect breezy to windy conditions as well as the potential for heavier downpours and thunderstorm activity across the extreme northwest Bahamas through to this afternoon. Winds and severe weather chances will gradually diminish as the front passes to the north of the area by late evening. A small craft advisory is in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 25 knots today, shifting easterly at 15 knots after the frontal passage across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but gusty at times across the remainder of the forecast area. Seas 5 to 8 feet over open waters in the extreme northwest Bahamas, subsiding 2 to 4 feet elsewhere. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, hot and breezy with quick passing showers today, becoming mostly fair and warm with a stray shower or two possible tonight. A small craft caution is in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over open waters. Your daytime high temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, the warm front is expected to merge with another weak frontal boundary to our north, allowing for high pressure to momentarily dominate weather conditions across the Bahamas for Tuesday. Meanwhile, a frontal trough will begin to develop across the northwest Bahamas by Tuesday night, allowing for shower chances to gradually increase across portions of the area through to midweek. Your outlook for Tuesday, partly sunny, warm, and a bit breezy with passing showers and a slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm across the northern islands. Winds easterly at 15 knots over the northwest Bahamas, increasing 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean, building up to 6 feet along Atlantic exposures in light to moderate easterly swells in the northwest Bahamas, with seas generally building 4 to 6 feet elsewhere. Your forecast for Wednesday, variably cloudy, warm, and humid with widely scattered showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms across the northwest and central Bahamas. Mostly sunny, warm, and a bit breezy with a few light passing showers in the southeast Bahamas. Winds variable at 10 knots or less across the northwest Bahamas, shifting east to southeast at 15 knots across the remainder of the islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet near shore, building up to 7 feet along Atlantic exposures in moderate easterly swells. The tropical weather outlook, the public is reminded that the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season concludes on November 30th. At this present time, the tropics are quiet, with no new tropical cyclones expected to develop during the next 5 days. That's your weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. Time again for your morning blend traffic alert. This segment brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. And traffic is now on Gladstone Road back all the way up to Fire Trail Road and past it. Sir Milo Butler Highway actually has loosened a little bit. Traffic looking better on Fire Trail Road. Traffic seems to be flowing on Sir Milo Butler Highway a little more freely now. And the traffic on Tonic Williams Darling Highway not looking as bad as most mornings, so not a bad commute on that part of the road there. Traffic has built up at the roundabout by Saunders Beach, backed up all the way past Go Slow Bend. And traffic westbound at Saunders Beach is also getting a little dodgy over there. So if you want to find a different route, I would do that. Traffic on the Eastern Road is still backed all the way up to St. Susie. Looks like it's improved a little, but still thick. Traffic on Prince Charles is backed up. Almost from Marathon Road to close to Fox Hill Road. Maybe there's something happening on that road right now. Elsewhere, still got some high traffic there on Carmichael Road, eastbound to Blue Hill Road. But the traffic seems to be flowing a bit more than it was in the 7 o'clock hour. That's your Morning Blend traffic alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay until February 2023.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the Three Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now. 3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, and Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
It's the most rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make a Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Fidelity, we're good for you. I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Finding more time on your hands lately? Need to start or finish a paint project at home? Well, all three Sherwin-Williams paint and art stores are open to serve you. Find and follow them on social media for more info at Sherwin-Williams242 and check out their website at SherwinWilliamsBahamas.com.
Shanae's Chesapeake Road Christmas Wonderland is open under the Big Tent. Get your Christmas trees in pink, frosted, green, or white in a variety of sizes. Musical Christmas LED and laser lights, a large variety of tree ornaments, lighted angels and Santa tree toppers, bright and lively colored Christmas balls in all sizes, garlands, wreaths, tree skirts, stockings, and lots more. Add flowers, picks, and decorative mesh to brighten up your home or office this holiday season. And don't forget the toys at Janae's Chesapeake Road. Check our selections online at www.janae's.com.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's
Welcome back to Morning Blend. I am Chester Robard, still sitting in for Dwight Strachan, and I got something to tell you guys right now. Goal! Okay, sorry. It's World Cup time. It's that time. England scored against Iran just now, so if you're watching, hey, shout out. I got to give a shout out to my mother-in-law, whose birthday is today. Sandy Ritchie, love you. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great one. And I got to say hey to Brittany Knowles. She be listening in. She knows who all the callers are. And Virginia Chan. Good morning, guys. Anybody else watching World Cup? Who you pulling for? All right. Let us get back into some of these text messages. Of course, you can still call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and let us know how you feel. So let's see where we left off. This person says, Chester, this FTX matter is just like the Bahamar matter when the PLP was in power. Now they're the government again, and look at who the players are so far from then and now. I smell a stink fish, Bahamar FTX 2.0. Okay. Don't know if it's all that, but we will see. All right, this next message says, Sam is like, who? Sam is like Amandy? Amandy. You remember that movie used to come to TV? I have no idea what that is. Okay. This person says, you cannot do governance on any technology company without even more advanced technology to support that oversight. It's technology against technology for governance oversight. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking, and that's just how it be. That's just how it is. This caller. Oh, I don't think Sam is a. Okay, I watched him go over and above doing things that will hurt him legally to apologize and over-explain. I don't know if I could use this word, but anyway. People who do things like him don't do that. I think he dug a hole, he tried to fix it, and made things worse. He probably made things worse for himself, you're right. Probably made things absolutely worse. The person said, Chester, please don't let these callers spin this FTX story on the opposition. This falls squarely at the administration's feet. I want to talk about what he said in just a second. Just read some more of these text messages. SBF will not see 1 day in Foxville prison. If he does face charges in the U.S., he may go to federal prison. What set up like a country club equipped with tennis courts and hot tubs. Is that the same prison Martha Stewart went to? Hi, Chester. Man, I'm so bugged that all that money was sharing out to nonprofit org, and I ain't get none. Please let that Bahamian song, You Get Swing, be your theme from FTX to the Bahamian investors and the government of the Bahamas. Well, I mean, the people who got the money ain't get swing, right? This person says, how are the young Bahamian professionals doing who worked for FTX? Well, excuse me. I wish some of them would get in contact with me. I would love to talk to some of them about how they're doing. I've reached out to several companies who were doing business with FTX, and just to see how they're doing, and will do, and nobody wants to talk. It's clearly a sensitive issue and sensitive subject, so it's not surprising that some people don't want to talk about it. This person says someone should check on them as their livelihoods were ruined from a company that was supposed to be a promising career. Then says, well, Chester, I guess it's safe to say the government is more concerned about the FTX debacle than Junkanoo or illegal immigration. Or maybe they're watching World Cup, like me. Oh wait, did England score again? I didn't adjust the score. Okay. So yeah, the caller said something interesting, and yes, they did score. England scored again. 2-0. My friend predicted 3-0, so we'll see. Back to FTX. Right, so the opposition is calling, what a brilliant goal. The opposition is calling for the government to declare, and we have it in our paper today, to declare whether they received any kind of campaign financing, loans, or gifts from FTX, right? And the caller said, and fair enough, the caller said, you know, when any of these parties are calling for people to be open and honest about the money they receive from anywhere, they all need to do it. And I agree with the person who called and said that. If you're going to talk about campaign financing or who got money from where, y'all should all be disclosing that, right? But alas, we know when it comes to disclosing things that they should, it just don't ever happen here. And nobody goes to jail or gets fined or whatever the penalty is for not declaring, these things. Doesn't happen. That's partly why people be talking about our country the way they do. Can GTR have a few shows that some people in the arena can explain the digital economies? Oh, Guardian Talk Radio. Okay. Can Guardian Talk Radio have a few shows that some people in the arena can explain the digital economies and what the Bahamas and Bahamians can do to embrace these trillion-dollar opportunities? That's a good idea. I'm sure we can, and I actually am trying to talk to someone today about these things. So we will see who we could get on to talk about what's to come in the space. I look forward to the growth of it. CZ from Binance, you might know the name. I'm looking for a tweet that he put out this morning. So CZ says, at the time of this tweet, Binance had 5,900 people. Today we have 7,400 plus people, targeting 8,000 or so by the end of the year. Hiring continues. I'm not sure if he's talking about hiring people. That you want to have 8,000 people hired by the end of the year. That's incredible. But he retweeted something from the 15th of June that he tweeted and throw in the most shade, saying it was not easy saying no to Super Bowl ads, stadium naming rights, large sponsor deals a few months ago, but we did. Shade there. All right, England scored again, beating Iran pretty bad. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Good morning, Chester. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Great. Just two very quick points here.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, campaign finance reform. I agree with the texter who indicated that, once one party calls for it, then all should declare. We've been asking for this for quite some time, and it seems as there seems to be this reluctance to do it. If you are all transparent then and accountable, then I mean, that should be something, don't even wait for really the government to do it. Wait for the opposition. If they want to start it off, let them start it off and see if the government is going to follow suit. All right, that's one. Two, there's a vacuum that's been left by this FTX, even though it's quite early in what's going on right now. It's going to be quite interesting to see what fills that vacuum.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my eyes open and I'm listening to the rumblings on the ground. I want to see what Binance is going to do. I want to see what CZ's true intention was all about, and how it's going to really impact what we have going on in the country. Remember now, some people are asking for the government to declare if they have any interest in FTX to that point where they have invested the people's money, invested assets or whatever.
Yeah.
This is something that we all are keeping our eyes open, and we need some answers here. All right?
What,
That's my comment.
What do you think might fill the vacuum?
Quite interesting.
Not another exchange like
well,
FTX.
Well, let's put it like this. Right now, to be honest, I'm also an investor with a local company right now. Just to give you a quick example here.
Right.
And even right now, although the entity seems to be doing quite fine, there seems to be no dividends paid out or anything like that. And I have a big concern. I have been so tempted to call that entity name out personally on the airwaves.
Right.
But I am reluctant because obviously they're going to come with some frivolous explanation as to, well, the company hasn't been doing well, they haven't been whatever. But I've yet to see. I've been with this company now for at least the past 8-9 years, and I've yet to receive one dividend from them. But in answer to your question, it's going to be interesting to see if there will be another investment company trying to take that spot.
Yeah.
I don't think that the climate is going to be right for that right now with all this what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like I said, I'm just quite curious to see what the next step is going to be.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if we see them, they got something up their sleeve. I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate
bye.
the call. Yeah. I don't foresee another sizable. So if FTX was number 3, number 2, and number 1 ain't coming here to look the way FTX looked because they weren't doing it before, right? CZ is not coming here to hug up the Prime Minister and others and give $1 million to start backyard farming agencies. That's not going to happen. And OKX just set up an office here, and I can almost guarantee they're not going to look like FTX. They are already giving some stuff to, but that's just good corporate governance, right? It ain't going to be every week. It ain't going to be every month, probably. Because, again, that's just not the way these things go. FTX was a unicorn in every sense of the word. And now it's, as this person says, wait, I saw it just now. I saw the word poof in one of these. Oh, yeah. Oh. They saying poof about something else. All right. This person says, I can explain the digital economy in one sentence. 99% of us don't have the money to be paying milk and rent to be... Okay, what? Don't have the money to be playing, or maybe they mean paying milk and rent money, Russian roulette with crypto. Yes, I surely don't. This person says, and just like that, okay, yeah, no, we're not reading that poof thing because we ain't know about that. Regardless of what callers say, the government in power can pass a law giving immediate effect that they all declare. Campaign reform needed ASAP. I mean, regardless of what the caller says. Everybody's been calling for this and it just ain't happening. So they don't want it. This person says his tweet was about size compared to FTX, size with employees. Oh, okay. That's a lot of employees. 8,000 by the end of the year. This person says, yeah, Chester, if they really want transparency with information and want the PLP to disclose how much they get, then they should propose a bill like the Freedom of Information Act. Make it law. Don't just make it to fit this circumstance. We don't have to worry about the PLP declaring anything. When the U.S. courts and Congress subpoena the information, the PLP would have a choice to give the information unless they want to be further blacklisted. So we don't need to ask if the Bahamas will comply when the U.S. demands they will. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. Like, there's a lot of stuff to come out of this, right? So if they don't outright tell us if they received any money, there may be ways that we could find out if they did, right? As these bankruptcy proceedings move forward. This person, on the international stage, the Bahamas government is appearing to be a business partner with Sam. Yeah, well, and that's how they're talking about it. And, you know, optics are optics. And the photos that accompany every story about FTX tell the story, unless you're telling another story, which obviously we're not hearing another side. So this person says, only people who could lose everything they put in and not feel pain should invest in crypto. I agree. This person says the digital nor data economy is about crypto. Crypto is like saying the food store is about grapes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, crypto, like was said before early in the show, crypto, the only real crypto was what, like the first crypto, right? Bitcoin, I think, was the first, if not the first, just the first mass one that was invested in. And it was based on something new, and it was assigned value based on this thing that it could bring as a decentralized thing, right? Every other coin that came after it wasn't really kind of based on anything. And even the one that was supposed to be a stable coin backed by the US, that, well, you know where that went. I think it was Tether, right? So we know where that gone. Yeah, so let's take our final break before we have to end the show and move on to Morning Blend Business.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Get a berry makeover this Christmas from Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan to win a home renovation. This Christmas, unwrap the celebration. $3,000 for your home, new lamp, new decor, new couch that you
Win
own.
a $3,000 home goods gift card when you apply for a Scotia Plan loan this Christmas. We're giving you the gift of a low interest rate and up to 2 months with no payments. Plan the perfect Christmas with your Scotia Plan loan. Use it for any purpose, plus benefit from flexible payment terms. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan now to enter to win a merry home makeover.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
We're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way.
Welcome back to Morning Blend. We are ending the show Morning Blend and getting ready for Morning Blend Business, where we'll talk some more about FTX and what some people on the international arena are saying regarding regulation and regulators. That's our show. Thanks for being with us. Morning Blend Business will start right after this news update.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners on this Monday, November 21st, 2022. Once again, I'm Chester Robard, still filling in for Dwight Strachan, and you are my co-hosts today. So you can still call in 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. And I appreciate your text messages helping me to get through the show. Anybody else watching World Cup? Anyway, still want to say, again, happy birthday to my mother-in-law, Sunday Ritchie. Happy birthday to my longtime friend, Takoyo Donkum. I got to say hey to Brittany Knowles and good morning to Dr. Virginia Chan. Hey guys, anybody watching the World Cup game? England is ahead 3-0, beating Iran. I guess nobody who texted me into World Cup, they wouldn't even tell me who they pulling for. A lot of people got their money on Brazil. I'm looking at Germany. We'll see. So let's get into some of the business stuff. In the business section of the Nassau Guardian today, there is a expert in due diligence who was on a platform last week kind of breaking down what he thinks happened with FTX. And you know, he thinks that a multi-billion-dollar company that has all these tentacles and reach across the world and and has like 1 million customers is just too big to be policed by an entity like the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. And that's kind of what he said, among other things, while on the show. I got a clip of some of his thoughts on the regulators. So let's take a listen to what he said there.
Where I would also turn next, as I just run through the topics that we have here to discuss, turning next would be to regulation and compliance. So the main FTX organization was physically located in the Bahamas, although it was incorporated, actually physically incorporated in the separate jurisdiction of Antigua and Barbuda. So there was no international regulation from the SEC, from primary G7 regulators, be it the US, Canada, UK, or the other primary EU countries. It was registered and regulated by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. I personally lived in Bermuda for 10 years, so I got an understanding, great sympathy for the ethics and efforts of individuals who work for the offshore regulatory regimes. But realistically, they're small. They just don't have the resources of an SEC. We can't expect that. Looking on LinkedIn, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, I think, has 60 employees. We can't expect that organization to be able to discharge a fully forensic and vigorously intrusive regulatory environment, particularly around something as complex as FTX. And I do think it's notable here, we've got robust regulation embracing innovation. Of course, the problem in the offshore jurisdictions is they're all competing to attract business. Various jurisdictions had set themselves up as being open for business and appealing home for newly emerging crypto businesses. I imagine there'd be an awful lot of political pushback in this jurisdiction if the commission said, hey, we've found problems with FTX, as obviously FTX was a superstar in the Bahamian economy. So pragmatic issues coming through here. But it's also noticed that separately, just a couple of months before all of this blew up, the EU did actually issue a license for FTX. This is not just a Bahamian issue at all, but they came in by what I think will be generally agreed as a backdoor via Cyprus. So Cyprus is obviously one of the smallest EU jurisdictions. And just to make sure I'm not unduly criticizing Bahamas, with 60 people in their organization, Cyprus has the grand total of 71 on LinkedIn. So equally, the Cyprus regulator hardly appears to be someone who has the resources to conduct a deeply thorough investigation prior to granting the appropriate license. So here we have FTX as an entity that is subject to offshore regulation, but is not part of the primary regulation of the SEC, FCA, of the other main jurisdictions. Now, there was, of course, FTX US, but that was a peripheral entity, not the core where the leadership was based. Bankman-Fried and the leadership team were all in Bahamas. That was where the core action was taking place. Let me move on in the interest of time.
All right. Yep. So that's those were his thoughts on regulation, the jurisdiction, and how he thinks the Bahamas looked at FTX and the political feeling about FTX. He talked about he got the size of the Securities Commission wrong, even though he's right on their LinkedIn page. It does say that there are 61, somewhere around 60 people working at the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, but their website and last report, I think on the numbers from 2021, talk about around 80 plus people, right? So I don't know if he got the size of Cyprus right, but he got that information from their LinkedIn page, the Cyprus regulators, right? But whether or not you feel like, there again, I gotta say that, and put the caveat in here, there are gonna be a lot of people, a lot of talking heads talking about FTX, what they think went wrong, how they feel about the Bahamas and its regulations, and its regulator and its government. And again, the regulators can't or aren't saying anything at the moment. They kind of don't usually talk about these kinds of things when there's investigations going on or they're doing work behind the scenes on these places, right? Maybe one day they will, but right now they're not. So they are kind of left to be under the scrutiny of everybody right now, since this is a global story. And they are not going to, outside of their releases, kind of represent themselves. So again, take everything that you get from all of the talking heads around with a grain of salt, and kind of do your own due diligence, as it were, on the information they're spreading, right? But it's an interesting angle that he's taken, saying that the Securities Commission is too small of a regulator to police FTX. He's not saying that they can't do it. What he's saying is they might need much more resources than they currently have, right? And he says they don't have the required manpower to maintain a, quote, fully forensic and vigorously intrusive regulatory environment. And if you've been reading about FTX and how it kind of its executive team were kind of just willy-nilly moving money back and forth, and people asking for money on their group chat, and they saying yes to the payout with just an emoji. It was all very strange, right? And so he's saying a fully forensic and vigorously intrusive regulatory environment is what was needed for FTX. So he also said, if you were listening, that it's kind of a bit of an indictment on the country and the government and maybe the regulator, but he says there are tons of jurisdictions, and we know this because FTX told us they were looking for a place to headquarter themselves, and they chose the Bahamas, right? They looked all over the world and chose the Bahamas. So they told us that they looked all around, and Chris Addy, the gentleman in the story whose voice you heard, said there's competition across jurisdictions to lure in these big crypto exchange firms, right? Because they bring something to the jurisdiction. They bring money, they bring whatever. You saw what FTX was bringing, and they're not all bringing what FTX brought. But there was this tug of war, of course, probably in jurisdictions to get this company settled somewhere. And he's saying that even if the Securities Commission found something awry with FTX, it's plausible that political pressure would say, look, all right, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with these things as they show up, but we need this big boy to cement ourselves as the digital asset, chief in the region or in the world. And that's what he said in his comments. However you feel about that is however you feel about it. Maybe during the course of all the investigations on FTX and here and abroad, some information will pop up about how and why they really chose the Bahamas and what kind of pressures led them to come here. But for right now, it's speculation, right? What really kind of went down to get them here. So he's also saying that, we can't just look at the Bahamas because there were other jurisdictions who were given licenses to FTX. right? And who had regulators around the size of the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. So he's being fair in saying you can't just beat up the Bahamas if that's what you're trying to do when you talk about the regulators. There were other people and places trying to regulate this company. FTX US again is in the US. They were under some kind of regulation. Alameda Research should have been under some kind of regulation, and we see all of that has come to a collapse. So this is probably part of what Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis was saying in the House when he said, like, be careful in your conversations about the Bahamas and how you feel about our regulatory regime. And he uses the word robust. Going back to Chris Addy and what he said. He said the Bahamas has a robust regulatory regime. Pretty sure that was the word he used, right? Realistically, we can't expect, of course, the problem, attract business. But yeah, anyway, he gave kudos in his, here we are. Here he says, here we've got a robust regulation embracing innovation. I'm talking about the DARE Act, right? Robust regulation embracing innovation. So he does give kudos to the DARE Act, and but saying maybe there needs to be more resources put in place to police a beast like FTX. Just read some more of your text messages. This person says, the digital and data economy can create some millionaires in the Bahamas from regular people, with Bahamians selling just one product, selling to 100s of 1,000s of people on a consistent basis, or providing a service digitally. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely correct. This person says, hey, Fred, chill out with all the barking. We need America. They feed us like a baby needs a mother's nutrition. You heard in the news report, Fred Mitchell basically saying, all of these talking heads, again, you're going to hear a bunch of talking heads from around the world beating up the Bahamas about its regulatory regime and regulation. There's Kevin O'Leary, from Shark Tank, who was invested in FTX, and he's saying publicly he lost a lot of money, and then saying also there was no regulatory oversight of the company. Again, you're gonna hear a lot of that. So, Fred Mitchell is, I think, rightfully saying the U.S. or Americans have been part of some of the biggest financial fraud schemes and Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. They were responsible for the housing crisis in 2008 that led to, the Great Recession. And so he's saying, take the mote out your eye before you start talking about us. So fair enough. Fair enough. They should talk collectively about big things and not point fingers. I think that's what he's saying. This person says, so in your story, Chris Addy, a due diligence expert, says the SC is too small to police FTX. If that is true, how could Brave Davis walk away saying everything was done right and they wouldn't change a thing? And they say, we don't have to feel or speculate. They had 2 accounting firms doing separate audits. From my reading, that is a gigantic red flag. There was Zippo corporate governance. It's abundantly clear how things went wrong. I think Adi is talking about hundreds of regulators. I believe he's suggesting firms of this size should be monitored by organizations like the SEC wherever they choose to domicile. Right. And he's saying that. He's saying that, but, people think that even the SEC has missed things from time to time. So, I think he's just saying that special attention probably needs to be paid to these kinds of firms on a global level and generally. So he does say, and you remind me about the accounting, and Chris Addy says the accounting firms that were chosen to do the audits should have been a red flag. And that a company with billions of dollars in assets and client funds should have been audited by, if not one of the big 4 accounting firms in the world, at least one of those in the top 5 to 10, I guess he was kind of saying, and that sounds like it makes sense to me. So this texter is saying, but isn't that the Bahamas government's MO, create great legislation and then fail to put it in place, the capacity to enforce it? You could say that. And nobody would disagree with you in certain aspects. The person says, great show as usual. You realize after the fall of FTX, global warming and other international and global problems seem not to exist no more. FTX is a distraction. Keep woke. Okay. Well, let's see what we get blindsided by because we paying attention to FTX. We got a call come in. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. Business.
Good morning, Chester Poppy, and good morning to your listeners all over the world. How you doing?
Good. Good morning.
Chester, this thing is your business, which you be dealing with in the paper. This your category, which you be dealing with business, right?
Yes, sir.
FTX thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know if you already give your opinion, what you think the whole deal is, and what your view is how we should go about it. I hear what the Prime Minister said. I hear what the chairman of the PLP said, that us PLPs must defend it. You say something about I don't know if it's the regulars or the accounting firm should have see the red flag. What's the name of that firm you're talking about?
Which firm?
You say something about the accounting firm. It's not just reading something you say.
Yeah, no, I said this person I wrote about, Chris Addy, who is the CEO of Castle Hall Diligence, said that he thinks FTX, remember FTX was audited by some accounting firms, but not like anywhere.
Yeah, in the Bahamas?
In the big, the accounting firms, no, the accounting firms weren't from here. They weren't local accounting firms.
Okay, and they didn't say the name, eh?
The names are somewhere. I'll look for them probably on the break and tell you what it was. But they mention who they are.
So it's the same red flag, but they talking about what Barbados recognized why they didn't allow them to do what they wanted to do over there. That's the same red flag?
Well, there were apparently a lot of red flags. This is just one red flag. Barbados found other red flags.
So us here in the Bahamas, we didn't come across no red flag. We didn't see no problem with
I read a story about a hedge fund or a investment fund that sent FTX. FTX said, look, invest in us, and they sent them a 2-page document asking them to implement. They said we will give you money if you implement these controls, right? Mm-hmm. And they ran or they answered them or they didn't answer. FTX called them back and tell them to whatever expletive you think goes with it, blank you.
But he was able to do it here in the Bahamas.
Well, I mean, there were no investors, no investors of the size of a like an angel investor.
So that make me to ask you, sorry, Chester, we do have local investors who invested in this FTX.
Yeah. There are local people who invested in it.
Did we lose money too?
Plenty of people lost money.
So
Yeah.
what about the what you call it, the Central Bank of the Bahamas? Did our government invest any money in this FTX?
Well,
currency?
the financial secretary says, not to his knowledge, the government of the Bahamas is not financially exposed.
When Bill Clinton and Tony Blair, they come over here, they normally get paid for speaking anywhere
Yes,
in the world
they
where
get
they go.
they get
did,
paid.
Did
Yes.
FTX pay them or the Bahamas government pay them?
No, I'm sure FTX paid them.
FTX paid them? So tell me something. My chairman, Fred Mitchell, said PLP is, I'm not talking about you. When I say we, us PLPs, we must defend this. Is this something defendable? Why asking you, right?
I don't. What part of it must you defend? I think you should defend the
court,
the integrity of the integrity of the country in general. Because again, this is not one of those things that hasn't happened in the U.S. And this is what Fred Mitchell was saying in his voice note. This is not, if so, the indictment of any country, like the U.S. would be one of the biggest offenders for financial crimes.
But two wrongs don't make a right. Why I say that, right? So it is defendable. We should defend it.
No. There's certain things that
the court case should be over here in the Bahamas.
That you should defend.
The court case should be over here in the Bahamas.
Well, it's yet to be seen what the argument is, but it seems as though, yes, the bankruptcy filing that was done, the Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing that was done by Sam Bankman-Fried shouldn't have been done, and that we have jurisdiction over the winding up of the company.
Okay, so we should defend that. Tell me something. Did the Security Commission find like how other countries, other different countries were saying the FTX need to do certain things for them to be able to deal with them? Our Security Commission, did anything in writing in the past?
Those are the questions that we are waiting to ask. So
they still in position, nobody resign or nothing?
No, nobody's resigning.
Okay.
And
those good work, man. I
thank
enjoy you. I could listen to you every day, like I always tell you.
I appreciate you.
Keep up the good work, Chester.
Thank you. We are waiting to ask all of the relevant authorities certain questions. What he's talking about was there's an advisor in Barbados who said FTX wanted to come there. Again, as I said before, FTX said they searched the world for somewhere to put their headquarters after leaving China. And he said they were looking at Barbados. Barbados also said, like this investment fund told FTX, there's certain things that we need you to put in place before we give you any money. And Barbados kind of told him the same thing. There's certain things we need you to put in place before we let you domicile your business here. And they didn't go to Barbados because apparently they didn't want to do what Barbados asked them to do. All right, let's take this next call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Yes, good morning once again, Chester. Stella Johnson.
Good morning.
Yeah, the two companies is Anamanio and Brigham Matus.
Yes.
Publishing company.
Yes, thank you.
But Anamanio is one of the largest in the country, at least by revenue.
Okay.
Brigham Matus is one of those smaller firms that even an office in the Central Line in the Metaverse. But I can't remember the guy's name. It's something like Chamat Palahayataya or something of that sort is the one who asked him. And the very thing that he asked for is the very thing that we were lacking, the ability to verify governance.
Yeah.
And all of these were actually red flags. I mean, if we have the ability, we sure enough didn't do it. Because if we looked at the governance structure concerning the boards and advisors and these different things, we would have seen some real lack in regards to the multiple companies that's involved.
Right.
Now, let me ask you a question, though, from a business perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If Coca-Cola Bahamas was to declare bankruptcy, do you think we have jurisdiction over Coca-Cola Global?
No.
Because Coca-Cola has a subsidiary of that, right?
Right.
So is FTX Digital Markets. FTX Digital Markets was the subsidiary of the other companies of FTX, the mere fact that the same principles is involved with all of these different companies, and they operated in the Bahamas, right? But not necessarily from the Bahamas from a digital standpoint, doesn't give us the authority to use the subsidy to climb up the chain pole. And the judge in New York kind of expressed that same type of environment that says that they should go over to Delaware. So it's going to be interesting to see the particulars in that environment.
Yeah.
But on the point that having been involved with Bitcoin, I am if you want to say something, I'm a Bitcoin absolutist, right? I don't believe in CEXs, central exchanges.
Right.
And you're right, there is only one cryptocurrency in the world today in the sense of what cryptocurrency is supposed to be. That's Bitcoin.
Right.
All the other cryptocurrencies are not decentralized, pay as you done. They have boards and people who can change and modify code and recover your money and do all these different variations. So they are not, if you want to say, cryptocurrencies in the sense. So if you get 4 guys or 5 guys like that run Ether that can decide, even in spite of claiming that this governance happens from the Bitcoin, it's all garbage. So, and which brings you to the actual data aspect of it. All digital assets is data, period. And unless you have a regime for control that actually allows you to reach into other jurisdictions for how data is dispersed, at the same time, you literally have you almost have to say you have in the data arena, you have to have legislation that is almost a cooperative through about maybe 125 different countries that has their own legislation. And so if I'm operating from the Bahamas, forget cryptocurrency, but I'm dealing with people in the UK, and I'm dealing with people in China, and I'm dealing with people in Canada, and I'm dealing with people in Barbados, and I'm dealing with people in the United States. Each one has its own set of rules. And so just because I set up here, you can't claim the rules of the Bahamas applies into a sovereign state, even though I'm dealing with those particular individuals. We could look at how we did the VAT thing. As we say, for services, we have jurisdiction of services or products that terminate in the Bahamas, but not the fact that it's initiated from the Bahamas into another country. And then the question then becomes, if we look at the servers, FTX had none of its servers in the Bahamas, as I'm aware of. And so then how do you reach into another jurisdiction and say that you have control of those servers? So anything that happens would be voluntarily. And so even when you go and look at the bankruptcy filing for the first 130 companies, FTX, by accident or by deliberate purpose, left out the behemoth companies off that bankruptcy list. And the question is, why? If the 4 companies or more in the Bahamas was part of this whole conglomerate of things, why did he leave it off that bankruptcy list that he filed in the United States? And so it's like this, for me, when we talk about cryptocurrency from a governance and regulation standpoint and legislation standpoint, it's a misnomer. Because what happens is that you don't, you have a division that, like you said, like the tech said for grapes. That has nothing to do with the governance of the food store. And so with the food store, what is sold in the food store can be actually governed and ruled on completely. But you can't say you have a rule for grapes and a governance of the food store. And so we have to forget the debate we're having about FTX. As a country, we have to look to see where we fit into the data universe and also into the digital universe. As I've said on other shows, is that the 12 major economies that we have discussed is 100% dependent upon data and digitization, and which then comes down to energy. And so we are basically trying to regulate how people dress as opposed to how dresses are made.
Right.
And so I'm saying is that we can use this as an example, and if we get the right people at the table that doesn't look to data privacy, data protection, and data sovereignty. You want to own your data. You want to own everything. Well, the Bahamas is a location that can give us both data, not both, but the three of can give us data privacy, data protection, as well as data sovereignty. Well, we can add another layer upon that if you read our Constitution from a digital mindset, and that's constitutional privacy, protection, and sovereignty, which is one of the highest protection anyone could get anywhere. And so, but it will require us to reimagine our economy, especially in light of this conversation about carbonization of the thing, because we can literally, if we would actually stop and examine the fact that we are a carbon-based taxation system, we can literally take everybody off the grid in this country within 2 or 3 years, which would then be a real boost to the economy because data is 90% dependable, dependent on energy requirements.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is such a huge opportunity in spite of the mishap we did, and basically, I would use the expression our ambition being greater than our ability in regards to FTX, but we can rethink and re-examine this type of environment because if we just set up the legislation, the expertises around the world will literally flock to us to try to become involved. And I mean, I've been an advocate for this for 20 years.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to tell you the opportunity that we have in the front of us if we don't become distracted by trying to defend what FTX did to us when we had no ability. That's the first thing we have to admit. We did not have the ability to stop this.
Yeah.
And this didn't start last week.
Right.
If you go now, looking back in retrospect, you could see this as a 2-year-old issue, and all the science was there, missed by a number of people, but more so because we pulled it so close to us, like a quarter. You put it in front of your eyes to block your entire view.
Yeah.
So that's how I think somehow we need to elevate the conversation beyond defending our position. We are found guilty in one thing. Now let's see how we can rebuild.
Absolutely. Always appreciate it. Let's go to our break, and we'll have the morning business report.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
And it's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The SEB is too small a regulator for FTX, says a due diligence expert. FTX had "I told you so" written all over it, Chief Executive Officer of Castle Hall Diligence Chris Addy said last week, adding the regulatory entities as small as the Securities Commission of the Bahamas do not have the required manpower to maintain a fully forensic and vigorously intrusive regulatory environment. Addy, who was part of a webinar last week that focused on what went wrong with FTX, said regulators the size of the SEB are typically not in a position to effectively police an organization with billions of dollars of assets under management and 1 million or so customers. He says, quote, "There was no international regulation from the SEC, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, from primary G7 regulators, be it the U.S., Canada, or UK, or the other primary EU countries. It was registered and regulated by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. I personally lived in Bermuda for 10 years, so I've got an understanding and great sympathy for the ethics and efforts of individuals who work for the offshore regulatory regimes, but realistically, they're small. They just don't have the resources of a US SEC. We can't expect that level of oversight." And Deltec Bank and Trust Limited, one of the largest financial institutions in the Bahamas, said in a statement on its website last week that it has no credit or asset exposure to collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX. They said, in light of the recent events, Deltec Bank and Trust Limited would like to give an update on exposure to the solvency and bankruptcy issues at FTX and its related entities. Deltec Bank, fully licensed and regulated, offers traditional private and corporate banking services to clients globally in both innovative and traditional sectors. The bank has been operating for over 75 years and is known for bringing personalized expert partnerships to its traditional banking services. FTX did not provide any services to or hold any assets for the bank. Deltec Bank does not hold or trade any digital assets for its own account or on behalf of its clients. Therefore, there is no credit or asset exposure to the bank by the bank to FTX. And about 3,000 government employees working for minimum wage will see their pay increase this month as the minimum wage increase with back pay to July hits their bank accounts, Financial Secretary Simon Wilson said last week, adding that the government will spend $3 million this month on the change. He added that all arrears for public officers will be paid as well. He said, quote, "We built that into our budget." Wilson was responding to questions about the government's recent pronouncements about a positive first quarter for fiscal 2022-2023. He was asked whether he expects more positive quarters given the government's increased cost of payroll and increases in energy costs from BPL. And the Lyndon Pindling International Airport is set to launch a new cell phone waiting lot today and has its own dedicated flight tracking app in play as it readies for the passage of potential record numbers of Thanksgiving holiday travelers through its doors. The Nassau Airport Development Company said in a statement yesterday, NAT expects between 25,000 and 35,000 passengers to move through the airport between Thanksgiving Day on Thursday and Sunday, November 27. Overseas, Bob Iger, the enterprising entertainment executive who brought Star Wars, Pixar, and Marvel under the Disney marquee and challenged the streaming dominance of Netflix, will replace his hand-picked successor, CEO Bob Chapek, whose 2-year tenure has been marked by clashes, missteps, and a weakening financial performance. The stunning development comes 2 weeks after Disney's quarterly financial performance fell well short of Wall Street expectations on both profit and revenue, a rarity sending shares tumbling 12%. Shares of the Walt Disney Company are down 40% this year. The company's stock jumped almost 9% before the opening bell with the appointment of Iger, effective immediately. Iger, who's 71, wrote in an email to employees, "It is with an incredible sense of gratitude and humility, I must admit, a bit of amazement that I write to you this evening with the news that I am returning to the Walt Disney Company as Chief Executive Officer." That's your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. welcome back to Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. I am Chester Robards, still holding it down for Dwight Strachan, who is in Iran. Probably watching the soccer match, watching Iran get beat 5-1. Just want to read some more of your text messages. This guy, Sharp, Elon Musk, he wanted to take over the Bahamas with his something BP. I don't know. You're typing too fast. You're making too many mistakes. That might be what it is. All right. This person says, we are putting our head in the sand again. John Ray, who was in charge of Enron's liquidation, that's Enron, said this is the worst instance of regulatory failure he's ever seen. All these red flags, and SC completely missed them. These Trump, we didn't have enough people. It looks like the regulators missed everything. Okay. This person says, how could you accept not to my knowledge response from the financial secretary? Every check have to go through him. If he don't know definitively whether we invest in FTX, who should we ask? The janitor or the landscaper? Yeah, I didn't know what else to ask after that. It's just a wait and see now. Hi, Chester. The issue isn't that this type of crime has happened in the U.S. and in bigger countries before. I think the issue is how we deal with these type of failures. We are not doing a good job dealing with it. The secrecy, the failure to discuss FTX because of the excuse that it's before the courts, which we know will take years to be resolved, and the fact that SBF is living in our country like nothing has happened. It is these acts and more that reflect badly on us. Yeah, all of that. All of that. This person says, great show as usual. Wait, it doesn't start there. You know what an amazing... Oh, no, we read that. This is only my opinion. The fact that the CEO of FTX created a backdoor for the funds automatically make him look guilty for taking the funds. We don't know what happened there. But we have learned that the Securities Commission took some money under their control into their own wallet for safekeeping. So that's part of where the money went. Let's take this call. It's coming in. Yeah. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend. Caller, you there? Good morning. Okay. So we know now that again, there's a lot of money that is involved in this thing, and we can only hope and pray that some of the people who are owed money will get their money back. That somebody mentioned a teachers' union, a pension fund that invested in FTX. You know, that's probably one of the saddest cases, and we hope that gets. I hope that gets resolved, because you know that's no joke right there. And they had hundreds of millions invested in FTX. Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Morning Blend.
Well, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
You know, I read in the paper today some foreigner was saying the Bahamas was out of its league. And I have to ask that foreigner if they're out of their mind. Because C. Alan Johnson has been speaking to it forever. In 2016, Lester Arcox on this same station had a show, and Wayne Johnson and myself spoke to it, that we needed an exchange. But our country needed the exchange for us. Just how we have the central bank, we could have had our own exchange that we knew wasn't going to be doing some things that were not above board, because we're the most above board financial service sector in the world country. And yet we didn't do it. We didn't come out with the conch coin backed by our sand and our natural resources, giving it incredible value. But you know what? C. Allen gave a good contribution. They've all been listening. And for the last 25 years, I've been stuck on stupid talking about solar energy to power all of this bright new digital world that could have been done the right way. It would have been banking 2.0. But no, we didn't do the solar, and we didn't do the banking digitally, properly. Do you know the big word now is carbon neutral, right?
Right.
What about carbon neutral digital currency, data storage, and, if you like it, carbon neutral crypto? You see, there are Bahamians that have been using solar panels to run the computers to get the cryptocurrency for free.
Yeah.
And you don't leave the cryptocurrency or any kind of digital currency in someone else's bank. You put it in your wallet.
Right.
Trezor, Trezor. It is a hardware wallet.
Yeah.
It is the same as if you go to the bank and get the money and you put it in your drawer. You have it. Why would you leave it in that bank? If you know the bank might be not above board, or you have suspicion. Anyway, it's a long story, but until you have energy security, I'll leave you with this one. Write it down. Until we solarize every rooftop and get our utility bills to almost zero, your food will go up, your clothes will go up, your gas will go up, and your digital currency will go up because the sand dollar runs on computers that use electricity. Let's make those computers powered by the sun. Hey, you have a good one.
You as well, I appreciate that. And the only reason my clothes going up is because my belly going out. Let's take this final break before we end Morning Blend Business.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. The place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
And here's your final look at weather. A quasi-stationary front nestled across the northern islands will continue to generate cloudy conditions as well as occasional bouts of unsettled weather as the boundary gradually lifts northwards today. Elsewhere across the Bahamas, high pressure will create mostly quiet conditions while giving rise to a general warming trend through tonight. There remains a marginal threat of possible waterspout activity across the northwest Bahamas. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate to high risk of rip currents impacting north and eastern shorelines, especially across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Residents, particularly in the northernmost islands, Bimini, Grand Bahama, and Abaco, living or traversing in low-lying and flood-prone areas, should take special precautions during heavy and prolonged rainfall events. In the northwest Bahamas, weather mostly cloudy to occasionally overcast and a bit warm with isolated to widely scattered showers across all areas. Expect breezy to windy conditions as well as the potential for heavier downpours and thunderstorm activity across the extreme northwest Bahamas through to this afternoon. Winds and severe weather chances will gradually diminish as the front passes to the north of the area by late evening. A small craft advisory is in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 25 knots today, shifting easterly at 15 knots after the frontal passage across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but gusty at times across the remainder of the forecast area. Seas 5 to 8 feet over open waters in the extreme northwest Bahamas, subsiding 2 to 4 feet elsewhere. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather partly sunny, hot and breezy, with quick passing showers today, becoming mostly fair and warm with a stray shower or two possible tonight. A small craft caution is in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over open waters. Your daytime high temperature today, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your overnight low temperature, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast, for the next 2 days, the warm front is expected to merge with another weak frontal boundary to our north, allowing for high pressure to momentarily dominate weather conditions across the Bahamas for Tuesday. Meanwhile, a frontal trough will begin to develop across the northwest Bahamas by Tuesday night, allowing for shower chances to gradually increase across portions of the area through to midweek. Your outlook for Tuesday, partly sunny, warm, and a bit breezy with passing showers and slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm across the northern islands. Winds easterly at 15 knots over the northwest Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean, building up to 6 feet along Atlantic exposures and light to moderate easterly swells in the northwest Bahamas, with seas generally building 4 to 6 feet elsewhere. Your outlook for Wednesday, variably cloudy, warm, and humid, with widely scattered showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms across the northwest and central Bahamas. Mostly sunny, warm, and a bit breezy, with a few light passing showers in the southeast Bahamas. Winds variable at 10 knots or less across the northwest Bahamas, shifting east to southeast at 15 knots across the remainder of the islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet near shore, building up to 7 feet along Atlantic exposures in moderate easterly swells. Your tropical weather outlook, the public is reminded that the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season concludes on November 30th. At this present time, the tropics are quiet, with no new tropical cyclones expected to develop during the next 5 days. Welcome back to Morning Blend Business. That is our show for the day. Let me just read this one last text message. Chester, the Fire Festival people ain't get their money yet. You think the people who invested in FTX would get their money anytime soon? I don't know. We'll see. I hope that people do get their money from FTX, right? That's our show for the day. On the Clock with Aaron Green is up next. Be good to each other. Have a great day. God bless you, and be careful out there. Drive with caution. That's it. I'm back with you tomorrow.